What's up, YouTube fragrance family? Tommy with Studio Sense here with another video about fragrances that are going to be perfect for this upcoming cooler weather. So we're rapidly changing our mindset into the fragrances that we want to wear in cooler weather. Today, I have picked out 5 fragrances that for whatever reason, when they came out, they kind of went over like a lead balloon. Didn't take, they didn't stick. And just like that rubber octopus that you throw against the wall, eventually it just slides down to the floor. And that's basically what these fragrances did. So when we come back, we're going to talk about these 5 fragrances that are perfect for fall weather, that for whatever reason were commercial failures, that I actually really like, and I think are super solid. That and more, so stay tuned. Welcome back, everyone, and welcome to today's video. I'm really happy that you clicked on that recommendation or that you hit the bell icon and you got notified of this video when it was finished uploading. Today, we're going to be talking about 5 fragrances that for whatever reason, when they came out, people either weren't super impressed with them or they just flew in under the radar. They didn't know about them. Maybe you still don't know about them. Maybe a lot of people still don't know about them. And that's kind of why I'm doing this video today, because I feel like there are a lot of underappreciated fragrances out there that people need to be introduced to the best qualities of. So we're talking about 5 fragrances that were commercial failures that are perfect for fall weather, for cool weather. So let's jump right into our relatively short list. The very first fragrance that I would like to talk about is a fragrance from a popular designer company, Calvin Klein, and it is part of the Eternity line of fragrances, which are actually pretty popular. So it was kind of surprising that when Eternity Flame hit the market in 2018, it just went... It could have done tremendously better. Now, what is Eternity Flame? Well, just like the name implies, it's a warm, lightly resinous, lightly sweet fragrance that's perfect for fall weather and scarf and sweater weather. It opens with a really nice pineapple. It's got like a heart of rosemary, some spice there, some cinnamon, and a little bit of labdanum in the base. That's the fixative that binds these notes together and makes them a little bit rough for the nose. Part of why I like the resins in here is just got kind of a warm, amber-like base to it, like amberwood. And the word amber makes you think of ember, which is fire. Fire equals flame. Flame equals home and hearth and, you know, fireplace, pitching a tent, setting a fire, sitting around a campfire. I mean, all those things kind of come to mind when you smell and wear this fragrance. Now, it may lack a little bit in the performance department, like a lot of Calvin Klein fragrances, but that doesn't mean it needs to be pushed by the wayside and totally disregarded. It is a very solid fragrance. Flame is an eau de toilette concentration. You can get a 100 ml bottle as a tester for 20 bucks. So the price is perfect, very inexpensive. I think an excellent fall fragrance, and especially for a transitional fragrance right before you have to don those really heavy winter jackets. This is the kind of fragrance that you want to wear when you're transitioning from warm weather into cooler weather. So even though it was a commercial failure, I definitely think it's worth your consideration, and I really enjoy it. Calvin Klein's Eternity Flame. This particular designer house called Pepy Jeans of London, actually everything they produce is really solid. And black is now, which probably isn't the best name, could have just been called, you know, Pepy Jeans Black. It is a very solid gourmand fragrance. It's not full gourmand. I would say this is probably one of those 2/3 gourmand. The rest of it is just part of like a very extremely wearable, you know, head-turning, compliment-pulling signature scent, built upon the foundations of the original flagship Pepy Jeans for him. Now, the bottle itself is like a cocktail shaker. You know, the lid is... put it in and you shake it and then you know, whatever. It's to make mixed drinks with. So that's kind of cool. And that's really behind the principle of the fragrance. It was kind of like a casual wear fragrance to get to wear when you get together with friends. It opens with mandarin orange. You've got a little bit of nutmeg, some really nice hazelnut overtones. You've got a heart of French lavender and coffee. Coffee was in the OG fragrance, so it carried forward into this one. Vetiver, cedarwood, patchouli, and vanilla is the base that it's resting on. So just going by the fragrance notes themselves, you can tell that this is a dense, rich, extremely pleasing fragrance. Anything really with, you know, coffee, vanilla, nutmeg, hazelnut or chestnut. It's sweet, it's dense, but not too heavy. It's masculine and it's very pleasing. It performs really well. This one came out in 2020. Not a ton of people heard about it. You can get it online for roughly 45 to 50 bucks. I recommend, if you don't own Pepy Jeans Black is Now for him, get your hands on it. You won't be sorry if you like masculine, gourmand, or near gourmand fragrances. Having said that, Pepy Jeans Celebrate for him, Pepy Jeans the OG fragrance, they're all excellent. Just like movie sequels don't always do as good as the original movie, sometimes flankers don't always do as great as the original popular men's fragrance. And that is the case with this particular flanker. People were looking for something to be outstanding, fantastic, stellar, new, challenging, whatever. And it was really none of those things to a great degree, but it was a little bit of all of those things, in my estimation. It is from Dolce & Gabbana, the One Eau de Parfum Intense. This, of course, is one that came out in 2020 as well. It's really hard to carry the mantle of a super popular, really iconic men's fragrance like the One and the One Eau de Parfum to continue releasing, products in that line and have them be met with the same kind of enthusiasm, popularity, and aka sales is really a hard thing to do. It's hard to recreate. I, for one, think this is a very solid cool weather fragrance that's a really good representation of the One DNA. They actually carried it forward into this fragrance really well. It opens with a good mix, a trio of neroli, cypress, and cardamom. You've got a resinous yet soft cashmere, clary sage, and benzoin in the heart, with black leather, patchouli, and labdanum in the base. So you've got a nice bit of spices and resins. And really, that's what I get when I smell this. I get a really good mix. I get a sense of a masculine, deeper, darker, yet nicely refined deportment for the One DNA. So whereas the One Eau de Parfum is sexy, this one is a little bit more thoughtful, kind of like the difference between a libertarian and a conservative person. This one is a little bit more reserved and conservative, but it does those things very, very well. It represents those nodes or qualities in a very positive way, and that's why I don't think it should be discounted like it has been. The One Eau de Parfum Intense. Now this one I wouldn't call a cheapie, but you can still get it at a really good rate. Our next fragrance was released from the house of Azzaro. It was part of 3 fragrances that were all named after islands, and they were supposed to represent the best aspects of those particular islands. This is the cool weather version of those fragrances, and to me it is the best, but nobody talks about it. I'm talking about, of course, Azzaro's Solarissimo Favena. Kind of a mouthful to say. The fragrances all come out in this particular size, which is 2.5 ounces, 75 ml. The fragrances all feature a gradient. This one, again, is a cool weather fragrance. This opens with a sweet candied lemon and a spicy sage, so it gets you right from the start, kind of grabs your attention. In the heart, you've got a nice spicy ginger along with some rum absolute. It gives it kind of a sweet, boozy overtone. You've got Chinese tune, which is just a kind of cedar. It's a little bit richer, darker cedar. You've got tobacco and amber in the base, and it smells great. For a cheap fragrance, guys, you can get this for 20 bucks, basically, for 75 ml. When it first came out, you couldn't find it anywhere in the US. I got mine actually from Russia some time ago, and then there was an influx of them, and you could buy them anywhere, and now they've kind of pulled back. Now, you can still find this online for 20 bucks. I recommend grabbing it up. I bought a backup bottle. That's how much I like it. It's an excellent, sweet, I would almost call this is another one of those 2/3 gourmand, where that candied lemon, that rum absolute, that ginger, and that amber combination is so rich, warm, and inviting, it's almost something you could take a bite out of. And that's why I really, really like it. It actually performs really well for a designer fragrance, but you're not going to get, one of those 8 to 10 hours out of it. You're going to get a good solid 6 hours out of this fragrance, though. For the price, very well worth it. If you like sweet plus boozy, you're going to really like Solarissimo Favena. Well, guys, our 5th and last fragrance that was a commercial failure to a degree. Now, some people might argue that point and say, well, if it's still selling, it's not a failure. By comparison, this fragrance should be selling a lot more than it is. The price has dropped pretty drastically and pretty quickly. It's another one of those 2020 releases by Hugo Boss. It is Boss Bottled Eau de Parfum. Now, when this was released, it was met with some kind of negativity. A lot of Hugo Boss fragrances, just because they're somewhat generic in nature, meaning they're created to please the most amount of people that they possibly can please, because they want to sell, they're a sales machine, but they also can produce some really good fragrances, and this one is one of them. It opens with bergamot, apple, clary sage, Madagascan pink pepper. It's just a really peppery, effusive, spicy fragrance when you first spray it on, and I love that about it. It's got cinnamon, green cardamom, chestnut, nutmeg, and a bit of sage in the heart. It's got vetiver, musk, sandalwood, a bit of rough leather, and some woody cedar in the base. and it's just a very refined. This one is the Boss bottled formula, the number 6, you know, the OG fragrance. It's that scent profile and the DNA, but very, very smooth, very polished, very refined, and it's the winterized version. So it is actually the cool weather version. You could argue that the OG Boss bottle is a cool weather fragrance anyway, but it's a non-seasonal, you know, signature scent. That's how I feel about this one, only it's just for cooler weather, for fall, winter. It's got a really, really nice vibe to it. It's lightly sweet, but not effusively sweet. It seems to tick all the boxes of everything about cool weather fragrances that I really, really like, without going too much into an incense or deeper, darker, inky territory, which is also, you know, a type of fragrance that I really like. But this is going to please a lot more people. But for whatever reason, when it came out, it was met with a lot of criticism, and a lot of people still don't like the fragrance. If you are one of those people, but I recommend dusting it off and trying it out again. If you have, whether you have a sample or a bottle of it, it is a very, very solid fragrance. As you can see, I've used quite a bit of my Boss bottled eau de parfum. Well guys, that's it for my 5 fragrances that are for whatever reason commercial failures, but I really love them for cool weather. If you think of fragrances that are like that you have noticed, please let me know what those are in the comments below. Thank you so much for stopping by and checking out today's video, and as always, thank you so much for your support on my channel. I'm Tommy with Studio Sense, and I'll see you tomorrow.